What I'm about to share with you has never been explained on YouTube in this way before. It's knowledge that's been passed down in my family, and now it's time for you to hear it too. If you're someone who feels stuck, if fear, anxiety, or a sense of hopelessness has been following you, if you've had enough of the version of reality that's been placed in front of you, then this video might be the moment that shifts your life. I'm going to explain, step by step and with science, why you feel the way you do. And more than just helping you understand, this will start to break the beliefs, emotional blocks, and hidden pain that may be holding you back. This message is more than important. It could shape your success and the future of your family for years to come. And if you're used to fast visuals and short attention spans, I need you to move past that. What I'm about to share has the power to transform your life, but only if you listen. Your brain and body are full of something called programs. These are patterns that get stored deep in your subconscious, and sometimes even in your physical body. As a child, you relied on your parents or adults around you to show you how to think, how to act, and how to live. Those early experiences shape the programs that still run in your life today. You were mostly taught what was considered right or wrong. You were shown what pain feels like and introduced to things like love and heartbreak. These are the programs, the mental filters through which you now view the world. Beliefs, habits, and patterns you picked up along your path, from family, from early life moments, from the things you went through as a child, a teenager, and later as an adult, all shaped how you experience life today. Now, picture your mind as a computer. Inside this computer, different types of software have been installed. These are the programs, and they've been downloaded into your subconscious mind over time. As you grew, you faced real-life experiences. Maybe your first relationship ended in betrayal. Maybe you lived through painful moments, like a car accident, a broken bone, or something deeper, like emotional or physical harm in your childhood. These events didn't just pass, they left marks. They became part of your internal system, shaping how you think, feel, and react. If you were raised in an environment where there wasn't enough, not enough food, not enough care, not enough love, then those moments likely became programs too. Maybe you were left out, ignored, or had to grow up fast. Now, as an adult, you might still live in that same survival mode, always worrying, always unsure if you'll have enough. Growing up with scarcity can lead you to believe that you're not meant to have more, that wealth is something out of reach, that success or abundance isn't for you. But all of this, all of it, is programming. It's the way your subconscious learned to see the world. So the programs you carry were shaped not only by what you experienced, but also by what you were taught by others along the way, from family, teachers, and people close to you. All of these moments helped build the beliefs you hold today. But what if I told you that many of the habits and thought patterns you live with right now aren't truly yours? These programs can also come from something called epigenetics. This means you don't just develop them from your own life. You can actually inherit them from your family. Epigenetics is the study of how your cells work and how things outside of you, like your environment or emotional experiences, can turn certain genes on or off. This is powerful to understand because if someone in your family, like your mother, uncle, or grandfather, went through trauma or emotional pain and never healed from it, it's very possible that those unhealed patterns were passed on to you. So the thoughts you think about yourself, the way you feel every day, might not even belong to you. They could be echoes of pain or struggle that started before you were born. A good example of epigenetics is when someone picks up a musical instrument and just seems to be naturally gifted. Often, that person has a relative, maybe a parent, grandparent, or someone further back, who is also musically talented. That gift, just like emotional patterns, can be passed down through generations. But it's very important that you truly understand how deep epigenetics can go. There was a study done at Emory University that helps explain this clearly. In the study, scientists took a male rat and exposed it to the scent of cherry blossom. Every time the rat smelled it, they gave it a small electric shock. This made the rat associate the smell with fear. They repeated this several times and then returned the rat to its regular group. Later, that same male rat mated with a female. And what happened next was eye-opening. When the baby rats were later exposed to the scent of cherry blossom, a smell they had never encountered before, they reacted with fear and stress. The trauma the father experienced was passed down. The baby rats inherited the fear without ever being shocked themselves. Now you might say, but those were just rats. Let me make this even clearer. There's a widespread belief that African American people are afraid of water or don't know how to swim. But where does that idea come from? To understand it, you have to look back at the time of slavery. When people were treated as property, slave owners did everything they could to stop slaves from escaping. One of their tactics was to create a deep fear of water. They did this through physical harm, mental manipulation, and verbal threats, conditioning slaves to believe that water, rivers, and the ocean were dangerous, even deadly. This fear wasn't just about the water itself. It was part of a system of control, and that fear, passed from generation to generation, became a kind of inherited belief. The same technique was even used with dogs to train them to fear, obey, or attack. So when you hear a fear or belief that seems to be just the way things are, there's often a deeper story behind it, one that began long before you were born. Dogs were trained to track, capture, and harm slaves, and when the moment finally came for some to escape, many had to face the very thing they had been conditioned to fear their whole lives: water. That fear wasn't natural. It was planted deep through pain, and the experience was so intense, so emotionally powerful, that it got passed down through generations. That's why some of these fears and patterns still exist today. They're not just in stories or memories. They live in our subconscious minds. They quietly shape our daily choices, even when we don't realize it. Every decision you make is being filtered through this mental lens, built from childhood experiences, beliefs, and unhealed traumas, including those passed on to you. And sometimes, these programs don't even show up until something in life activates them. There are many examples. A child might grow up with a sibling, and only one of them inherits a pattern or gene from a parent. For instance, if a parent struggled with addiction, one child might carry that hidden trait. They aren't born addicted, but the gene is there, silent, waiting. Then something in life happens, something painful or triggering, and it wakes up that hidden program. The same thing can happen with conditions like epilepsy, which sometimes appear later in life after a certain event. In my own family, generation after generation has sadly faced sexual abuse, whether as children or later in life. While no one can predict abuse, certain traits, like feeling powerless or not being able to protect boundaries, can quietly pass down. Think of it like this: each person is wearing their own special pair of glasses, and those glasses are tinted by the experiences, beliefs, and emotional wounds they carry. This is why something like heartbreak can lead to repeated patterns, like always being with someone unfaithful. If those deep-rooted programs aren't healed, they eventually shape your actions, and those actions, repeated over time, start to define who you think you are. These programs stop us from receiving the good things life has for us. It's like trying to move forward while wearing a box on your head. You can't see clearly, and everything feels limited. These filters don't just affect how we think, they change the way we live. They guide our decisions, the people we choose to be around, the relationships we enter, even how we use our money. I used to work in the healthcare field, and there was a time I cared for a man in his 60s. He was always emotional, and every single day he told me the same story about a fight he had with his roommate 6 months before coming to the hospital. Day after day, he relived that moment as if it had just happened. He hated that person so deeply that the memory became part of his identity. That one argument rewired his mind. He started to live in the past, and from then on, saw the world through a lens of mistrust. Even when he met me, he assumed I was just like everyone else, someone who might hurt him. Honestly, I've been there too. I was once in a relationship where I was manipulated and cheated on. The pain was so intense that it triggered panic attacks, something I had never experienced before. The trauma didn't just end when the relationship ended. It created programs in me that I unknowingly carried into my next relationship. I know some of you watching understand what it feels like to be betrayed, to carry fear with you, like it's a part of who you are. Because of that relationship, I began to act from a place of insecurity. I found it hard to give my new partner the freedom to simply be human. That behavior wasn't fair to him, and it wasn't fair to me either. I had allowed one painful experience to put a limit on my emotional health, my peace of mind, and even my ability to receive love and success. If I hadn't done the deep healing that I'm going to show you today, I would probably still believe that all men are the same. I know that phrase is common and often said without much thought, but holding on to that belief would have blocked me from finding the kind of love I truly deserve. It would have stopped me from ever experiencing a real, meaningful relationship. That's why, if we want to grow, we have to remove these old programs from our minds. So how do we do that? First, let me explain why letting go of strong emotions and deep beliefs can be so hard. There's a process made up of 3 simple steps. Most people get stuck at the very first one. Step 1 is thinking. Step 2 is doing. Step 3 is being. It starts with knowing what needs to change, having those thoughts in your head. Then comes the practice, the actions you take to shift your behavior, and finally, becoming someone who naturally lives that truth without having to force it. Every day, we think about ways to change our lives, to build better habits, or to try something new. But most of the time, we don't follow through. And without action, nothing really changes. Here's the thing. Your brain speaks in thoughts, but your body speaks in emotions. What often happens is that our thoughts stay trapped in our bodies. Our emotions start leading the way because they're stronger than logic. So, when something triggers us, it's not our minds that react first, it's our feelings. And that's why we often act emotionally instead of calmly and clearly. If what you really want is to feel like you've succeeded, no matter what you're chasing, if what you wish for is love or to feel joy, if you're tired of just surviving or feeling like there's never enough, and instead want to feel like your life is full and complete, then here's the first step. We have to change those patterns of thinking. Those automatic ideas that come without you even noticing, the ones that pull you down or make you feel stuck. We need to replace them with new ones. And then we must help our body truly feel what our mind already knows. If you follow my content, you've probably already heard me say this. Your thoughts matter. In fact, everything around you right now, the chair you're sitting on, the room you're in, was once just an idea in someone's mind. If you've grown used to seeing the world through the belief that life is tough, then that belief will shape what you experience. Science shows us that we have around 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts every single day. And 90% of those thoughts, they're the same ones we had yesterday. So if your thoughts stay the same and you believe that thoughts shape your life, then your life won't really change. Let's look at what that means. If 90% of your thoughts are repeated from the day before, then those same thoughts will lead to the same decisions. Those same decisions lead to the same actions. The same actions create the same moments, and those moments bring out the same emotions. Then those emotions feed right back into the same thoughts again, just like they did yesterday and the day before that. Listen closely. The way you think, the way you act, and the way you feel. That's what makes up your personality. And your personality is what shapes your personal reality. So, if you want your reality to change, then you need to change your personality. That means you have to start paying attention to the thoughts you've been having and begin to shift them. Now take a good look at those beliefs that hold you back. Those thoughts that repeat over and over, keeping you stuck in the same place. Ask yourself right now, Do these thoughts belong in the future you want? The way you think and the way you feel together create your state of being. To grow and move forward, you must rise above your environment, rise above your emotions, rise above the habits that live in your body. Step 1 to letting go of those old beliefs and changing how you see the world is simple. Become aware. That means waking up to the patterns, noticing the way you react, watching the thoughts as they come. You have to step back and see the program while it's happening. Let me give you an example. Imagine you got really drunk one night, and the next day, your friends told you everything you did, but you didn't remember any of it. That feeling of surprise, maybe even regret, makes you think twice. So the next time you're out, you drink less. You watched your own behavior through someone else's eyes and chose to make a better choice. That brings us to step 2. Change your actions. You now have different thoughts, so use them. Make better decisions on purpose. Take control and create something new. And here's step number 3, the most challenging part of all, doing it again and again. The hardest thing is choosing not to go back to the old ways. You'll feel tempted. Your emotions and the chemicals in your body will try to pull you back. Your mind might whisper, "This feels weird," or "Why are you doing this?" It might say, "You can just start over on Monday," or "This is too hard. You're not strong enough." Your mind will try to convince you to return to those old thoughts, which lead to the same actions, the same experiences, and the same results. So get ready. This isn't going to be easy. Changing means stepping into the unknown, and that can feel scary. Most people struggle to change because deep down, it feels easier to stay in the same place. Even if that place is full of pain, at least it's familiar. And sometimes, we mistake that feeling of familiar for comfort, even when it hurts. The real challenge is teaching your body how the future will feel before it actually happens. Here's the truth. Your brain can't always tell the difference between something that happened in the past, something happening now, or something that hasn't happened yet. That's why, when you think about something painful from your past, your body can start to feel it all over again. Your heart might race, your face might get hot, your hands might shake. That's because your mind thinks it's happening all over again. But the more you practice imagining your future, the more you stay away from the past. That's how you begin to change your brain, to build new thoughts, new feelings, and new paths in your body. You'll make different choices. You'll act in new ways. You'll live different experiences. And step by step, you'll create a brand new life. When I truly understood all of this, it changed everything for me. I was able to let go of the pain I felt from people who had hurt me because I realized they act the way they do because of the pain they've carried. Life became lighter once I understood why people act the way they do. Now, I can speak with them in a kinder, more understanding way. I've grown to care deeply for them. I can see their point of view. Because of that, I've opened myself up to more love, more joy, and more good things. All of this happened because I let go of the limits I had placed on myself, the invisible box I was living in. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. My channel is all about becoming the version of yourself that can create the life you truly want. If you'd like to talk, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you.